Revenge of the Sith is by far my favorite Star Wars movie. As someone who doesn't care much for the first two prequels, I'm astonished that Revenge of the Sith managed to make such a great comeback in terms of quality. From the battles we see on screen, to the character relationships, to the overall story, Revenge of the Sith excels at tackling all of these parts. The movie starts off with the Battle of Coruscant, and right from the start, the action begins. What I like about the opening of Episode 3 is how it wastes absolutely zero time at getting to the chase, similar to how Episode 4 immediately showed the Tantive 4 being attacked by the Star Destroyer. The movie also has other battles like on the planet Kashyyyk and Utapau. I actually really like the Battle of Kashyyyk as it's really fun seeing the Wookiees teaming up with the Republic and fighting the droids. Battles like this is what we needed to see more of in the prequels, to really drive home the point that there is an actual war going on. The Battle of Utapau is also really entertaining as well. The movie focuses on Anakin and shows his fall to the dark side. You see Palpatine manipulate him by telling him how he can save Padme from dying by learning the nature of the dark side. Speaking of Palpatine, we also see his plan play out, where he tries to kill all of the Jedi by using the clone troopers. Also, the music in this film goes so unbelievably hard, it makes the movie that much better. The movie has a ton of lightsaber duels, and is the best duel in all of Star Wars, which is the Anakin vs. Obi-Wan duel at the end. It goes on for a long time, but it's very satisfying. We also see Yoda vs. Sidious, which is really entertaining as well. The movie also has some cameos from characters that were in the original trilogy, like Chewbacca, Luke, Leia, and more. It also has a cameo from George Lucas at the Opera House. There are some amazing vehicle designs in this movie, like the new Jedi Interceptors and Grievous' wheelbike, canonically known as the Grievous Mobile. No need to fact check me on that, just trust me. What these designs do is show us how much thought, passion, and creativity went into this. You can truly tell that they went all out in creating this. I want to go back to talking about the prequel trilogy as a whole, and try to understand what makes Episode 3 stand out so much from the first two prequels. Well, I think there are actually a couple reasons. One reason is that it is much more dark than the previous two films. This was the first time Star Wars got a PG-13 rating for one of its movies, so right from the get-go, you know stuff is about to go down. But is being dark the only reason why it stands out so much from the other two films? Obviously not. Another advantage Episode 3 has over the previous two films is that the Clone Wars have already been happening. While the previous movie took its sweet time showing the origins of the war, Revenge of the Sith actually shows it in action, which gets the viewer that much more invested into the film, knowing that a galactic war has been happening for a while now and is coming to an end. Another obvious reason is that this movie shows the origin of Darth Vader as well as how the Empire came to be. While the previous movies tried to show the darkness that Anakin had inside of him, we actually see where this is leading up to, where Anakin reaches his breaking point and turns evil. And while some people would argue that his motivations or reasons for turning evil were done in a clunky manner, that's something for you to make your own decision about. The point that I'm making is that Episode 3 finally delivers on stuff we saw develop in the past two films. The story of this movie is also much stronger than the previous two films, which is another reason why it stands out from the other prequels. While the first two are about as exciting as watching grass grow, albeit with a few legitimately good parts, this movie pretty much keeps you engaged consistently throughout the whole film. A lot of the acting in this movie is actually really good, such as from Palpatine, Obi-Wan, Padme, and I would also say Anakin, while I'm sure others would disagree. I always wondered what it would be like if episodes 1 and 2 were of the same quality as episode 3. Would people still say the original trilogy was better? Probably, just because it came first and people are extremely nostalgic for it. The thing is, Revenge of the Sith did absolutely everything it could to make a recovery from its disappointing predecessors, and surprisingly turned out way better than it had any right to be. But is it perfect? Well, no, nothing's perfect. One of my biggest gripes is some of the poor or questionable effects in this movie. An example is that one shot of Palpatine's face when he attacks the Jedi. However, I think a lot of the effects still hold up in this movie, over 15 years later, which actually says a lot. The opening battle already supports this. Another issue the movie has is that some of the dialogue sounds like it was generated by AI. Now, I'm no expert on what is considered good or acceptable dialogue, so a lot of times I'm able to give this stuff a pass. But the scene I'm talking about is when Anakin is telling Padme how much he loves her. Something about that scene just makes my skin crawl and gives me the urge to fast forward. But like I said, I'm the most unqualified person to talk about dialogue in a film, so take that with a massive grain of salt. People will say that George Lucas is terrible at writing some of the stuff, but I wouldn't be able to tell you that. He's clearly focused on the big picture, and I respect that. I may look like a complete clown for defending some of the stuff he has written, but it was never that big of a concern for me. Overall, Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie, but what do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments your thoughts, and subscribe if you liked what you saw. And as always, may the Force be with you.